Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Nate. So, Nate was just talking about TripAdvisor.
Oh, here we go.
Here you go. Here's a page from the W Hotel for the W Hotel in Chicago on TripAdvisor, showing user-uploaded pictures right next to the Book It Now. And right at the bottom, a clear call to action. The words, add photo or add video or even submit work really well. The goal here is to avoid any kind of ambiguity and put absolutely no obstacle in front of the user trying to contribute to your site. Continuing that thought, make it easy, just like comments. We've got a simple title right here. It's not too cute. It basically describes exactly what you want people to do. You've got some short, very clear instructions. Try to explain the task and set expectations in 15 to 20 words. People will just move on if it looks like you're going to make them work too hard to give you something. Finally, you're sourcing all this amazing content. You should display it. You should display it on your home page. You should display it on services pages, product pages, informational pages, but especially here, as it gives the user a chance to imagine his or her upload featured on your site. And definitely make it easy for them to upload as well.
Yep.
On the action page, remind people of what they're doing. Things like this erase that very thin layer of ambiguity that can, turn a conversion into an abandonment. Streamline the process for them whenever you can. Autofill information depending on where they were when they went onto the page or whatever information you have. Give them clear instructions again. Let them know what you want them to do as clearly and as few words as possible. And anytime you're accepting uploading content, you probably want to include a quick disclaimer to ensure your users own the content they're uploading. You'll be using it after all. Make it non-threatening but clear, and that usually should suffice. And let them preview their submissions too. That's often overlooked, but it definitely sets the right expectation. When you're done, you know that it's uploaded. You saw what it would look like. You leave, and there's no layer of concern that you did something wrong. Again, acknowledge your visitors' efforts. Here, National Geographic has done an absolutely awesome, stunning job of giving their users kudos. As a hobbyist travel photographer myself, I see this page, and I definitely want to upload my own pictures and buy some of that attention. And you can see the content that's been reused in a number of different ways. You've got photo of the day, July's best, browse photos by topic, so people have tagged the pictures they've uploaded. People have rated them, so right at the bottom you can see most popular photo galleries, and over at the right you can vote for your favorites in different categories. So they're doing a really good job of reusing this user-generated content in lots of different ways. Cool. So all these best practices are great, but what about negativity? So actually, most user reviews are positive. People, contrary to what you might think, aren't online and complain. They're fair to share. And the vast majority of user-generated content is positive. Also, a number of studies have shown something very interesting, maybe a bit counterintuitive. And I was surprised initially to see this, but after I thought about it, it made sense. Conversion rates are actually higher for products and services with both positive and negative reviews. The reason is basically that users trust the process more, and they feel that they've vetted and they're aware of concerns before they buy the product. Yeah, that lens had all those great reviews, and now I'm aware that someone said it's not good in low light. Yeah, I could deal with that. I made a decision based on that, and I might be pleasantly surprised when I receive it. What about moderation? You need to decide whether to moderate things like comments or reviews, especially if you're in an industry that can be controversial or gets a lot of grief, like clean coal or something like that. You might want to moderate your comments, but do it lightly. Moderate, do it with a purpose. Transparency is very powerful, and like when we looked at the blogs and saw the blog comment policy, that's a great thing to do. You link everything to your moderation policy, and that way, if anyone uploads anything problematic, you can always point to that policy and give them a reason why something was removed. And what about registration? I'm a big fan of keeping barriers low. I would never require registration when I can avoid it. It'll stop a huge percentage of people from participating. Pulling it all together. This is pretty much where everything gets like to be a lot of fun. The real power in user-generated content is in its reuse, making use of it all over your website where it's most needed. So here, change.org is pulling together top comments, most recent comments, as well as showing how many people are participating on a given action page. It's all right there on their homepage to spur more people to act. It's done pretty well, actually, integrated pretty nicely. So a way to think about this is that user-generated content is an asset. It's an asset like any other piece of content you create yourself. A web page, an event, it's the same as all those things. Use it just like that. Feature user questions on your homepage, for instance. You can pull ratings onto your homepage if conversion is the goal, to use some of that peer endorsement. Make use of your social interactions and show people that you're interacting. I love this example that Nate found. Import content from across your web presence and onto your homepage or web pages. Your recent tweets are being featured and they're being updated in real time. That can both drive a lot of followers to Twitter and also show your visitors that you exist where they do. And use RSS to automate the distribution of content and enable your users who also publish their own content to talk about you on their own sites. So here's a great example, right? Two examples right next to each other. Content in up at the top from a social presence site, Twitter, and content out at the bottom. You're making it easy for people to syndicate your own content to their sites.
Yep. And you'll see it has the comments there. I mean, admittedly, in full disclosure, we are a Boston-based company. Some of us happen to be Patriots fans. But what you can see here is it's a pretty interesting blend where this is a section of Boston.com that they have carved out specifically for some of their editors' blogs, which is an interesting approach. If you compare that to, say, having a blog on WordPress or Typepad, etc., they've actually carved this section out of their site to drive more engagement. So it's high-frequent content. Just right off the bat, we know that we spoke earlier. It's very critical to just being trusted sources, getting return visits, things like that. But they've taken that a step further, and in just one splash screen, we can see how many folks have commented on this article. Or on this post, we can see the tweets about the post or anything inbound about the tweets. And then the bottom right, what Chris has highlighted here, is really, again, creating that circle, that loop back where, okay, here's our blog. Why don't you put some of our information on your blog? And, again, you get that full network, of shared content, of the sort of the ins and outs, the tributaries and deltas that should drive more traffic, should drive more results, to the site. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Pull it all together. That's where it really becomes powerful. And also, just what we were talking about, leverage some third-party content to deliver value to your users. Here, our friends at Visit London have a partnership with TripAdvisor. And they're basically importing a whole bunch of ratings from TripAdvisor to, deliver value to their own users and educate them on places to stay in London. And take cues from your visitors. Let them drive your content strategy to some extent. If they voted on a poll, write a blog post about it, like CrunchGear did here, or TechCrunch. It's not too hard to come up with ideas for new content when your users are telling you what to write about. And right now there's a great blog post there with a lot of SEO power. It was driven basically, all it was poll results and reporting on them. Tie your website to your web properties. So here we're showing the U.S. Department of State is prominently displaying social links on their homepage. That's not so much content reuse as it is just saying, hey, we're out here, here's a lot of places you can also be in touch with it. And when you're doing a lot of these other engagement efforts, this is a great thing to do also. Just let your visitors know that you exist where they do and they can find you wherever they're comfortable finding you.